My lovely, lovely late night sessioners, a lovely evening to you all. I hope I find you well wherever you are in the world. So before we get into this next episode, I would just like to share a short backstory with you guys on what the episode is about and why we went about it the way that we did. First of all, I would like to issue a trigger warning because this is a GBV episode. For those of you who don't know what GBV means, it is a gender-based violence episode. So, almost exactly a year ago, in December 2020, 3 lovely, beautiful Phoenix ladies entrusted me with their stories, and we all agreed that we'd love to share these stories, but we couldn't do it at that time because of the legal hurdles that were surrounding the issue and just the heightened sensitivity of everything. So we had to hold back. But the good news is we recently received green light to share these stories with you guys without the danger of an impending lawsuit. So here we are today. That's exactly what we are doing. Another thing that I wanted to shed some light on, we will not be mentioning the perp's name on the episode. You will notice that this is not to protect the perp. I just wanted to let you guys know. Like I said, legalities. That is the only reason why we will not be mentioning the perp's name. But our main aim, our main hope for this episode is to shed some light on the gender-based violence pandemic and to encourage and empower and motivate fellow women out there who might be going through the same situation or might have gone through the same situation to seek healing, to seek justice. And just generally for every other listener, you might know someone in your friendship circles, in your family circles, in your societal circles who is going through the same thing. To seek change, to seek change, to seek healing, to seek justice for those that don't have a voice, and to encourage those that are going through the situation that you actually do have a voice and you do have the support. Just shout. But before we get into it, this is Amara Brown with Titi Chema. Enjoy.
You're walking in a start a fight. This is your life, day in and out, drinking all night. You keep me scared, wondering where you are out there. And it's not fair, so you'll be pulling on my hair. You beat me, saying you're sorry, then you
Hi guys, welcome to Late Night Sessions with your one and only Bean. Today, in our Women's Crush Wednesday episode, we are joined by three amazing women with powerful stories which I believe will touch so many lives and help a lot of women on their different journeys to healing. So today we're joined by Riri, we're joined by Lovisa, and we're joined by Anna. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on here. And before we proceed, I just want to say, on behalf of every single woman out there, on behalf of every single woman going through what you went through, and on behalf of every single survivor, thank you so much for having the courage to share your story and, you know, fight for justice, and in doing so, encouraging other women to come out and seek justice and healing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So I'll just open the floor to you when you're ready to share a bit about yourselves, your background.
Okay. I'm Riri, based in Cape Town. I'm 25 years old and I'm a victim of gender-based violence.
My name is Lovisa. I'm originally from Sweden, but I moved to Cape Town in 2017. I'm also a victim of domestic violence.
My name's Anna and I'm also based in Cape Town, originally born in Durban. And I am the third girl abused by the same man. So that is how the three of us became connected.
Okay. And do you want to share whenever you're ready or from wherever you're comfortable on the story, how it all unfolded?
So I was in an abusive relationship. I started dating this man in 2013 until the beginning of 2016. We were together for a year and a bit until he abused me for the first time. It was a complete shock, to be honest with you. Obviously, there was signs here and there, but I kind of just turned a blind eye, didn't think anything of it. But when the day came, I was very, very shocked. Never been in a situation like that in my life. It's something I never thought I would be involved in. But he really made me believe that it would never happen again. And gradually through the years, it started getting physically worse to the point where I ended up in hospital. So that was the last time that was when our relationship ended.
Yeah, so for me, it also started quite gradually with smaller things, screaming, aggressive behaviors, but he never really hit me. And then and there were always excuses to every single thing he did, and he was a very good liar and manipulator. So I did believe what he was saying, maybe not at first, but after some time, then he just made me believe his lies. And yeah, it started, I would say, maybe 3-4 months into the relationship. And the last time was quite brutal compared to the other times, and that's when I realized that something was just very wrong with him, and I just ran away.
Yeah, so I met this person, and he had messaged me a few years back on Instagram, and then he reached out again to me this year. So we were only together for about 3.5 months when the first and only incident occurred. So mine was extremely violent, and I obviously had no idea about his history and who he had been with, and the circumstances of their relationships ending. But I can definitely agree that there are subtle warning signs that you maybe don't notice at the time. So like a little bit of jealousy, a little bit of possessiveness. We were dating during lockdown in South Africa. So it also makes it more difficult because you're not going out as much. You're not in so many, situations with other men hitting on you, for example, or, there are not as many opportunities to get jealous and for this person to react. So I didn't really see it coming at all. In hindsight, I could see he always made himself the hero in the story. No one in his past was ever bad. It was always the people he had dated that were bad. And he didn't really have a lot of friends. And I think those are all subtle things that we maybe don't realize at the time, but that they make it really big.
The tiny red flags.
The tiny, tiny red flags,
Exactly.
And when you came out about your story, that's when you met Lovisa and Riri.
Yes, so we connected before going public, and then I realized that this person had a history of this. It wasn't just a freak thing that had happened to me. It was someone who was a repeat abuser.
I had already worked on my case at that point over a year and a half, actually. And we weren't really getting anywhere legally, unfortunately, because of how the South African legal system is built up. So fortunately, he wasn't stopped before then, and my lawyers had just advised me to absolutely not reach out to anyone or say anything publicly, so only my closest friends knew.
Yeah, but in coming out, what would you say has been empowering in sharing your story? What advice do you maybe have for others who are considering coming out and sharing their stories to a public audience?
Well, I think for Lovisa, after, such a long time of not being able to talk about it, like I couldn't even last a week after my incident. I felt so compelled to bring it up on social media and warn other women that I insisted to my lawyers, I'm going to talk about it. So tell me how to talk about it, because there's actually no other option for me. I felt like I actually couldn't sleep. I could not move on and actually even process the situation if I wasn't able to talk about it publicly and just own the story. So for me, I found it very empowering to just talk about and say, this is the truth, and kind of lift the veil off this person who had been living a normal life, dating multiple, women since, Riri, and, continuing the same behavior.
Yeah. And Riri, how was it for you coming out and sharing your experience?
It took quite some time for me to come out, to be honest with you, because I was younger than Lovisa and Anna. The only people who knew were my family and close friends. But over the years, I started being more comfortable to speak out. I wasn't embarrassed about my situation. I wanted to help others by speaking. I just wanted girls to understand that it is easy to speak about going through a situation like that. It was tough in the beginning, but if I speak about it now, it's just so much easier. It's just to help others.
So what would you ladies say were, or maybe still are, the barriers to you coming forward and sharing your story?
Legalities. That's the only thing.
Yeah, I know you mentioned.
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, you're trying to do like what we were all saying is we want to do something good and we want other women to not feel alone. But how hard is it to do that when you can't even give the particulars? You can't name the person. It's you're going to get in trouble if you say more, for example. It's a very difficult situation.
Yeah, I can imagine. It must be really hard to not be able to name and shame. So this person is going on living a normal life, and it's like, okay, what happens now? There's so much hindrance to the truth being told.
Yeah.
So what suggestions do you have to make it safer for victims or survivors to come forward, having gone through it?
It's quite difficult because everyone's different.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience, I wasn't through my abuse, I didn't open up to anyone at all. I kept it all to myself for about 2.5 years, because he manipulated me, he threatened me in so many ways that I was scared to leave the relationship. I kind of didn't want to be that person who said, okay, I'm getting abused by this person, but I'm not ready to leave the relationship. So it was
think
quite
there's so much
difficult for
shame.
me.
You know, there's so much shame. I think if you look at like a lot of the girls we've interacted with now, is that like you're embarrassed to come forward because people are going to judge you if you don't leave. And then
Exactly.
True. And then even if you do leave, then people are like, oh, she's that girl who got abused or something. And like it's very scary, especially at how young you were. It's very different. You know, you're really on your own, and it's really hard.
Yeah.
So I can understand.
And everyone thought we were really happy. You know, he kind of wanted everyone to seem we were really happy all the time, but it was all just a front, really. So imagine
like no one
everyone
would believe
seeing
you.
Exactly. So it was quite difficult.
Yeah.
But
and he also a lot like everything was about his image, and everything had to look so perfect when it comes to like careers and friends and who you know. It was all just
I mean that makes it even harder if you're dealing with someone who's really a perfectionist when it comes to how they look on the outside. So even when you want to tell someone, they'll be like, but no, you guys look so happy, and like people won't take time to listen to you. And like what you were saying, if you do come out, people always have something to say. It's either why were you there, why didn't you leave, or
exactly.
oh yeah, the girl that got abused. Like it's never just black and white. There's always more behind closed doors.
And it's also easier for someone to judge outside of the situation, because as soon as you're in an abusive relationship, it's so difficult, especially when you're so deep in the relationship and this is actually someone you love. So for people to give you advice and they don't understand how it feels to be in a situation like that, it's difficult.
I think I can speak for all three of us saying that none of us thought that we would ever be in a situation like this, and it's only, you know, other people. And even when I was in it, I did not believe that I was in it because I didn't.
That's so true.
I didn't see.
So in going through it, you're also still trying to find your feet and just grasp the whole situation. And
you kind of mentally block it. You know what I mean? Like you can't believe what you're going through, but you kind of don't want to accept it because you never thought you would be in a situation like that. So I would mentally block it out of my mind and be like, oh, you know, I believe, you know, it's never going to happen again. I trust him, you know, he's really sorry. But meanwhile, don't believe when they say they're sorry, because an abuser will always be an abuser.
Yeah, that's very true.
And an abuser will always be the victim.
Exactly.
He will always make himself look like a victim, and we should feel sorry for him, actually, not the other way around.
Exactly, that's correct, Lovisa.
And another thing is that, like, do you find that he never took responsibility in like arguments, etc.? Like he could never say that I did this wrong, you know, like how normal people can say, I'm sorry, I realized I've done XYZ. There was like so many instances that I was like, that was a warning sign I didn't see at the time. I just thought he battled to say sorry and that he was being childish, but now I realize that he's so narcissistic that he really can't, you know.
Yeah, and how would you say this experience has impacted you, even emotionally and mentally?
Really?
It is, if I'm honest, it has made me stronger mentally and physically. I've become a woman, and I've learned to make myself happy and just live life. That life is so short and life is to be lived. I just feel like a different person after that whole incident, and I know what I don't want and what I do want and what I, you know, associate myself with. You know, I don't want to be part of any negative energy, because I dealt with such a toxic relationship for 4 years of my life that it's kind of just made me look at life in a positive way. Even though I went through hell, I kind of still feel like things happen for a reason. If I wish that I didn't go through that, but it did happen for a reason, and it's made me who I am today.
Yeah. And for you, Anna?
I think I just feel really appreciative. Like what Riri's saying is that you just find that like all the really good people in your life, all the really good times, you like,
Yes.
wow, they're actually so good. Like, you know, sometimes the lows show you how high the highs are, and just make you really
Exactly.
appreciate, you know, like I've never been in a relationship like that where someone thought it was okay to slap me, to hit me, nothing. So, you know, to see someone do that to you and you're like, wow, there's so many other good people in the world. So I think it's made me a lot more appreciative and grateful for the things I have. And I think it's also just given me a better purpose for my strong personality. Like I've always been quite outspoken generally, but I think that like we're all saying, it's really hard to talk about this. It's not like easy, you know, like it takes sometimes years to build up the strength to speak out publicly. And I feel like with me, I'm quite confident in speaking out generally, and I think that we can help a lot of people by talking about it. And I think there's good to be done with a bad story as well.
Exactly.
True.
Yeah.
True.
For me, it just took a very long time. Also because when this whole thing started, like the legal process, it was a big battle for me. It was very, very hard to prove what I was saying was the truth, even though I had the evidence. And it became almost like a word against word battle. And it just broke me down. It wasn't really the actual abuse that broke me down. It was the whole legal process and not getting anyone. The police not believing that no, this is nothing you can report as a domestic dispute. Not getting anywhere in court, postponements, and it just like broke me down a lot. So for me, it took at least a year to just be back to a normal person, basically. But I agree that you do come out as a stronger person in the end. It just took a long time.
I would never wish
get
it on
there.
anyone to make them stronger, you know, like it's,
Yeah, no,
it's
100%.
just like it's
Yeah.
so horrific. But I think we all have a purpose with our stories, and like even meeting like, you know, Riri and Lovisa, I mean, how incredible that you have people that truly understand what you're going through. It's not like a different situation. It's the same kind of, you know, person. It's the same experiences, and it's very comforting as well in a weird way. To know that like you weren't the only one who fell for this person. You're not the only one who didn't see this like warning signs. Yeah.
But I mean, in saying that, I mean, you get women who don't get stronger, who become so, their lives just change after being in a situation like that. They just don't have any hope for themselves. Because I'm quite a strong-minded person, and I think that's what also got me through this on my own. And some people aren't like that, and it's sad that I know some women to this day are not the same. They're not the same person anymore.
Yeah.
In a negative way. Yeah.
And that's the majority, you know.
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
move from the abuser to abuser as well, you're always going to feel the way you did in that relationship. And I mean, Riri, you were saying in your you've said to me in the past that when you went through a breakup, it was actually really hard.
No, it was definitely hard. There were so many emotions. It's like, okay, I'm going through this grief stage. I'm heartbroken at the same time because I really love this man, and the fact that he abused me to the point where I ended up in hospital. Like, I never thought I would ever. It was just, it's like I can't even explain it. There was just like so many emotions. Like every day I would cry myself to sleep. It was a lot. But I overcame it, and now I'm here.
Yeah, and I think it's also that point when you decide to leave, you're also so confused about so many things, like how one that you love do this to you, what it was really about, and you don't really understand why, because you're not that kind of person.
Exactly, you're right.
You saying I'm very difficult to understand.
Yeah. But I'm just going to say, you ladies are phoenixes. You were burnt to the ground and you rose out of the ashes. And I admire you so much for that.
Oh, thank you.
I admire you so much for that. So what services or resources or people helped you in your fight for justice and recovery and road to healing? just to name a few.
I mean, definitely like going to a clinic or going to a hospital where you get a J88 form. I think, that's something we all did, which is actually, going to get examined and getting that medical form, which is important. Like, it's important to us because it helps with the criminal cases. You have to have that form in order to like make it valid that yes, this did happen, etc. So I mean, I'm grateful that we do have at least something like that in South Africa where we all could access, that resource. And I do know that be it public or private, it is taken quite seriously because it's so prevalent in South Africa. So I'm grateful that at least where the victim is starting, you're getting that help off the bat. And then I think Lovisa can shed light on the hurdles with that.
Yeah, so I think also reaching out to different organizations such as POWA or Tears, they will help you and guide you where you need to go. Because what I did was that I think I trusted the police a bit too much because of where I'm from. The police will help you. And here, unfortunately, it's not the same thing. You need to find a person that can guide you through the whole process, that will help you to your goal. And for me, I had to go through it the hard way. And I've had lawyers that I couldn't trust, and I've been sexually harassed by the police. And I've met people in court, prosecutors and judges and everything that you just cannot trust, unfortunately. So I think it's really important to find that one person that can help you guide you through this whole process. It could be a lawyer or someone from an organization.
Riri, do you have something to share? Was there an organization or a service that helped you in some way?
Not in my case. Just family and friends helped me through it. I didn't seek any help from any organization or the police or anything like that. I only now started getting involved when Lovisa contacted me after what happened to her, and that's when I started getting involved, because I started to realize that there is something wrong with this man, and it wasn't just me. It is other women that he's doing this to. So I thought that I would help Lovisa, seeing it that it was just me and her, and I didn't want her to go through this alone. So in my case, there was no services and that sort of thing.
But friends and family, like what you're saying, I think my piece of advice to survivors is always just, if there's one person that you can tell, if it's a family member, if it's a friend, someone that you just have for like emotional support, and that can do it with you, like just to know that you're not alone, because it's such a lonely feeling when the person you love the most is like doing this to you, and now you've been in a relationship, etc. So if there's someone you can trust, that you can confide in, that can hold your hand when you don't have the strength, I think there's so much power in that. I think that's how we've all gotten through it, is by opening up to someone close to us. Never mind the law, never mind the hospitals and organizations, but just that emotional support.
Yeah, I was about to ask, like, how can friends and family help support and protect and reach out in a non-offensive and non-judgmental way? And how can the public and the government also up their game and assist in the combat against and advocacy for gender-based violence? You've gone through the whole thing and you've seen where there's lackings, and you feel like a lot of work could be done in certain areas. Where do you really hope and wish things could be up?
I think for me, I just prefer when we speak about ourselves as survivors, not as victims, because I feel like it's so brave to have like lived through the experiences we've lived through. If you really get down to the details of what like each woman has experienced with gender-based violence, that survival when you're in that moment is horrific. So I just think that, just calling us survivors is something really empowering, so that like the mindset needs to change and the narrative needs to change, is that like it's not about the person who's getting abused, it's about the abuser, and they have a problem, and that's how society needs to look at it. It's not about like shaming the victim blaming is huge. So I think just the way we talk about it is really important, and I think people need to just ask survivors, like, what do you need from me? you know, like if that support, if it's I still want to be in the relationship or whatever it is because I have kids or whatever, you know, as the person who is, you know, advising or being there for the survivor, you need to give them whatever they need in that moment, and you also need to really encourage them to get out. You need a friend who throws that cold water on your face and says, this is not right, this is not love. You need to hear it from someone that loves you, you know, not just the person that you're in the relationship with.
And for you, Lovisa?
Yeah, I think also just physical presence means a lot. It could be to take that person to a counselor, or coming with to court, to the police station, or just come to that person's house and like sit down and speak about it and just be there for that person.
Yeah. And Riri?
I exactly what Anna and Lovisa said. Like, they literally took the words out of my mouth.
I think it's also about listening, you know, just listen. I think it's very empowering when you actually believed and your feelings are validated.
Yeah, and like listen to understand, not just listen to hear you speak.
Exactly. And learn, like be open to the fact that you, as a person listening to a gender-based violence survivor, you don't actually have the answers at all. And I think it's an uncomfortable conversation, and it's a hard spot to be in. So you need to really, use your listening skills and see how you can support and see how you can get that person to safety. I think it's not just the responsibility of one person anymore. I think it's a community and a household thing. Like if you know about someone getting abused, if you don't step in and get the person out or intervene in some way, you're complicit. If you're friends with the person who is an abuser, you again are complicit.
Yeah,
and you're enabling that behavior, because that abuser is going to think that it's okay to continue because it is accepted by other people around them.
Yeah. And my last question is a bit personal, but how do you feel about dating again?
We'll start with the happiest story, which has to be Riri.
If I'm honest with you, a year after my incident, I was very open to dating. I didn't shy away from it. I was very open to dating, seeing other men. So it was kind of like a tool of me moving on, because if I was on my own, I would keep thinking about everything that happened. So I was dating, seeing other men, and it kind of just made me move on. And it's now made me meet my fiance. So,
congratulations.
There is life.
There is life, exactly. So there is hope, and, you know, not all men are the same, and you have to make yourself happy in order to make someone else happy. And that's my story.
I think I was so caught up in the legal process that it was hard for me to focus on anything else, and also because I felt quite broken as a person in the beginning. My one and only focus was the legal case. I did not really socialize with new friends or started dating or anything. I was just focused on spending time with those close to me and on the legal case. But I would also say it took about a year for me to open up again and meet new people and just get back to life.
I think for me, I think my relationship was the shortest. And the tendencies that this person had, he didn't have enough time to really sink his teeth into me. So, you know, his controlling behaviors, etc., hadn't really impacted me yet. You know, so in a way, I'm lucky that emotionally, I'm not actually too affected by it. I feel like it was a very short, superficial relationship, and it didn't really get me to the depth of going through a proper breakup. And I think there's so many good men in the world. So for me, I still feel quite optimistic about dating. I feel like there's so many good people out there, and I think I just now know that, you know, when you choose a partner, it's really a big choice. And I think that's, you know, I'm not saying be cautious all the time, but I definitely will kind of take a little bit more time putting my feelers out and just really deciding, do I really want to be with this person first before I think making that commitment, because, you know, you just have to get to know someone. And I think, as my case showed, 3 months is kind of the amount of time you need to really be seeing someone. and to kind of just, get to know their like initial vibe. So I think I'll just be a little bit slower on the dating front of just really getting to know people and just taking it very relaxed. I'm open to it.
And I think Anna said that I had a lot of amazing guy friends around me, so it didn't make me lose hope in guys at all. It was, I always knew it was a single person who did this, and not all people are the same. So it didn't make me lose hope in men in general, or as most people also said, because I'm foreign, they said, don't you believe that all South African men are like this? And I was like, no, absolutely not, because so many amazing guy friends.
It's kind of hard to like date, and then you're like, but I'm going through this situation of like, criminal cases, and it's a lot to like process for someone who's never gone through all of this. We're all comfortable with this stuff now. But if I went on a date and a guy told me all of this stuff now and I hadn't gone through it, I would be like, crisis, this guy's got some issues, So I'm sure it's weird, like, for people who are going to date us as well, to be like, they're currently going through the situation, but like emotionally they're not at all tied to this person.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ladies, for coming and sharing your stories. It's been lovely chatting with you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
And I wish you all the best on your cases, and I wish you all the best going forward and even into the year 2021. I know 2020 has been a rough one for everyone, but I'm hopeful for 2021, and I wish you all the best in 2021 too.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for telling our story, and it's really amazing what you're doing.
Thank you so much, guys, for tuning into that very informative and insightful episode. I hope it was an eye-opener, and I really hope we were able to reach out to someone out there. I will leave all the necessary information in the description box below, where you can find the ladies, where you can find the pages and support systems and support groups that they mentioned, and also information on where you can find an NGO that Lovisa runs that supports women and children in similar situations. I'm leaving you guys with Uhuru by Sun El Musician featuring Azana, and I'm wishing you guys a blessed, lovely last month of the year 2021. Let's wrap this up on a good note. Stay blessed, stay healthy, stay safe. From your being with the biggest love.